Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. This is Lifestyle Critic, where we break down movies and TV shows into their core elements. And in this video we are going to be reviewing Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, which was definitely Infinity War before Infinity War was Infinity War, as this film is truly the darkest of all the Harry Potter movies, and of course along with Part 2, which was filmed back to back. They literally spent a year filming both movies, and it really shows, as the film is just truly epic and really does take them all over the world outside of Hogwarts, where they truly have life or death type scenarios. And even though it's the first part of a two-part series, it still packs such a punch. And actually, I think the first part of two-part movies are sometimes better than the second part, as the second part kind of concludes everything in a really epic fashion. But the first part is where it's all destroyed, everything is really hopeless and really destructive, and this film definitely takes advantage of all of that. And I cannot wait to break it down for you in this movie review. So from a storyline point of view, the film really does start off on a very somber and a very hopeless note, as all of the Death Eaters are doing mass killings on Muggles and are infiltrating the Ministry of Magic. There's also a really sad scene where you see the Hermione Granger character wiping her parents' minds of her existence so that she can keep them safe. And you also see a bit of a somber / strange scene with Harry Potter and the Dursleys, where they don't really say anything and they're not really bullying him either. Obviously you don't really like the Dursley characters, as they're really nasty towards Harry Potter, but seeing them in this kind of a weird setting just definitely did put a chill down everyone's spine. You then see the trio joining the Order of the Phoenix and trying to go into hiding, and in order to do so they all turn into Harry Potters themselves, which I thought was a really hilarious scene, so that the Death Eaters don't know where the real Harry Potter is, as Snape, who is now on the Death Eaters' side, has told them where they are all based. You then see the core trio continuing Dumbledore's mission to destroy the Horcruxes, which is the key to Voldemort's immortality. And on that point, it's really nice actually to see the trio on their own, completely away from all of the other characters, so that you can really see how the three main characters of the film are going to navigate everything on their own without the help of other characters. At the same time, Voldemort is trying to get the Elder Wand so that he can have even more power, and it's just really interesting to see whether or not Harry, Hermione and Ron are going to be successful in this truly world-shattering event, and seeing the inevitable betrayal that they'll have with all of the different characters along with them on this journey. So from a storyline point of view, the first part of Deathly Hallows is absolutely brilliant. So from a casting characters point of view, it's really great, as they've brought back all of the players from the Harry Potter previous movies into this one, and they're really focused on the characters. I mean, all of the character development in all of the previous Harry Potter movies is absolutely brilliant, but Deathly Hallows in particular really takes them out of the confines of Hogwarts and takes them into the real world. And so you can really examine what's going to happen with different characters. And because of the fact that you've been with them for so many years, it's just really interesting. So let's break them down one by one. So first up, we have Daniel Radcliffe, who's back as Harry Potter. And like I said, because you've been with this character in all of the different ordeals and challenges and trauma, you really do know him inside out. And just seeing how he's going to navigate this literal life or death massive challenge is just truly epic. And like I said, especially because of the fact that it's outside of the Hogwarts confines, just seeing whether or not this character is going to break by all of the massive burden that he has to carry, or whether or not he's going to be successful in this truly overwhelming situation is just absolutely brilliant. Next up we have Emma Watson, who's similarly back as Hermione Granger. We obviously know her as a bit of an A-star student, and seeing how is this character going to navigate into this truly life or death type scenario in the real world. Is she going to break? Is she going to be able to handle everything? How is she going to take all of the pressure where she doesn't have textbooks and essays as her way to demonstrate her success? This time she has to apply it in the real world, along with having to choose between Harry and Ron. So I thought her character development and character journey in this one was really, really interesting. Speaking of which, next up we have Rupert Grint, who's back as Ron Weasley. And I really love the fact that they really explored the jealousy that he would have between Harry and Hermione. They teased this in the Goblet of Fire, so I feel like it was a really natural progression for this character. And I really like the fact that they separated the trio group to see how they're going to survive when actually they're not together, and when they're more vulnerable on their own. Next up we have Voldermort, who's the big evil villain in this film. He's trying to build his army, trying to find the Elder Wand, and it's just really interesting as well as very few movie franchises have the same villain in pretty much every single movie, but obviously in this one the stakes are a lot higher. He is actually winning, and it's just really interesting to see whether or not he can actually be crumbled in this movie. We also have the return of Dobby, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Dobby the elf, the one who absolutely loves Harry Potter, as he kind of freed him, and just the return alone was really, really great. But then the death of Dobby was absolutely heartbreaking, especially as he kind of sacrificed himself for Harry Potter, so I thought that was a truly epic way to end the film. We also have Malfoy, and like I said with all of the other films that I've mentioned this character in, I just feel like they really didn't maximise the Malfoy character in any of the real Harry Potter films. Even in this one, he could have done so much more, but they just kind of reduced him to being someone that's a bit conflicted, who's obviously joined Voldemort's side and is just kind of playing that card. But I just feel like they could have really done a lot more with this character. And then finally we have Helena Bonham Carter, who's also back as Bellatrix Lestrange, and she is the character that caused a lot of heartbreak and pain for all of the characters, and especially at the end of this movie. So from a cast and characters point of view, Deathly Hallows is absolutely awesome. So from a visuals point of view, they're absolutely brilliant in this film. It definitely feels very end of the world, and the colour palette definitely feels a lot more horror based than any of the previous installments, and I just feel like this works so well in the lure of Harry Potter. So it just lends itself so well to this, and I'm really glad that they definitely stepped it up and made it a lot more terrifying, and the musical score definitely played into that as well. And like I said before, I really like the fact that they were out in the open, out in the real world, and that it was just focusing on the trio. So from a visuals point of view, it really came alive and really popped in Deathly Hallows. So from a comparison point of view, I absolutely love the Deathly Hallows. I really like the fact that they were outside of their comfort zone from Hogwarts, and they were thrown into the wolves in terms of being in the real world, where they only have themselves to defend themselves, whilst the villains, the Death Eaters and Voldemort's army, are just absolutely killing it and destroying the world. So the stakes are really, really high in this movie. And I also really like the fact that they had a bit of a treasure hunt type event going on, where they have to try to find the Horcruxes and destroy the Horcruxes, whilst also introducing the audience to the world of the Deathly Hallows themselves and the legend and the fable behind it. And you can also see that all of the movies were building up to this event as well, and we're also growing the characters, as like I said before, the trio are totally on their own in this film, which is really interesting to see whether or not they can actually do this brilliant massive task. In terms of other Harry Potter movies, like I've said before as well, Chamber of Secrets is definitely one of my favourite movies from the Hogwarts era, but in terms of epic movies from the whole collection, Deathly Hallows is definitely one of the best ones. So overall, I have to say I really enjoyed Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I thought it was a brilliant start to the two-part epic finale of the brilliant Harry Potter series, especially after Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince weren't as great. I definitely feel like Deathly Hallows definitely shot it up again and was an absolutely brilliant film. I absolutely love the storyline, I love the cast, I love the visuals, and I love the fact that the stakes were so high in this film, and the cast and characters definitely rose to that occasion. And so for all of those reasons, I have to give Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 a solid 7.5 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.